And we're live. Happy Wednesday, everyone. Welcome to the Mojo Show, where we talk everything real estate. I am your host, Joe Mortgage.
And I'm Cup of Joe Mortgage.
This week's episode, we are wrapping up our 6-part series on PAPCAR. If you've been with us the past several weeks, past 5 weeks, right? We've been covering PAPCAR. We covered prospecting, appointments, presentation, closing, aftercare, and now we get to wrap up this series by covering the last and most important aspect of PAPCAR, which is referrals. Fun stuff, the one that we all love to be able to get. But before we get to that, Joe, this weekend is daylight savings time again.
It
is Saturday night or Sunday morning, we got to move our clocks ahead. I don't understand this. Help me understand this. And anybody that's listening in, please tell me, why do we need this? I don't get it. I've never, in all my years, I've never understood why we need to, put our clocks forward and then set them back. What's the benefit to this?
That we were talking about this earlier, and it's something right now that I think they put it in place, in my opinion, and what I've always been told was for the farming and the sunlights before school for the farmers' kids that were going to school. I'm not sure that I'm accurate on that, but I think now with today's technology and everything else, we're going to get up when the sun needs us, and when we're going to go to bed when we want to. So I know your opinion is you don't like it.
I don't think we need it. I really don't.
I agree. I wonder what it would do for the energy, because I know that was one thing you said, that you thought it put it in for energy, conserving the energy, right?
Yep.
So I wonder how much it would change if we didn't on our power grid.
Right.
Will it actually affect it? That would be a great question to fiend out. I think there is talks of not changing anymore. I know Arizona doesn't change. When I lived out there.
Really? They don't? They keep it the same?
Doesn't change. They stay the same. Okay. So sometimes they're mountain time and sometimes they're Pacific time. So we're about to go to where we're going to be 2 hours difference from our Arizona, colleagues out there.
Wow. See, that's messed up. I'm sorry, but it is. It's anybody that's listening in, or viewers and that, if you got an opinion on this, please drop it in the comments below. I'd love to hear, because I'm sorry, I just don't think that this is really necessary to be able to have. And it's obviously debatable, but we still have to do it. So,
we'll like it when we get up in the morning and the sun's up. So,
yeah, and I guess in the evenings when the sun is still up at like 9 o'clock and you can't get to sleep because the sun's up.
That's true.
Well, Joe, today, as I had mentioned, we are covering the last aspect of PAPCAR, and I'm super excited about our guest that we have on today to be able to cover referrals with us. He is just to kind of help introduce him a bit, he's the business development manager of capital projects for Anvil Smith Cooper, which is an energy sector manufacturer company, if you will. He's also the owner of Everson Cooper Partners, which is a real estate investment company specializing in short and long-term rentals, fix and flips. He's a graduate of the University of Iowa. We won't hold that against him, but he holds an MBA from the University of Illinois. He's been in the sales profession for a good decade now, with experience in both B2B and B2C sales. Please welcome to our stage, everyone, Andy Greever, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me on.
So before we get into Andy, we did have a comment from Eric McLeod saying that he was told that it was for baseball, so that way they didn't have to turn the lights on as early.
Really?
So, I think everybody has, one thing that they think it's for. So, but Andy, welcome to the podcast, and tell us a little bit just about yourself real quick.
Yeah, thanks for having me on. I'm excited to be here. Yeah, so I've sales is my second career. So I've been in sales for a little more than a decade now. My first career, I was a public school teacher and a high school football coach and baseball coach. So I've got a sports background, all that good stuff. But yeah, I've been in sales for more than 10 years now, and it's been life changing. And I love sharing the things that I've learned in sales and how it's changed the projection of my life, changed the projection of my career, what it's done for my family, and what it can do for other people. And I just have really enjoyed the things that I've learned over that time. And I try to be like abundant mindset. And the things that I learn, I want to share with other people because I think it can be beneficial to them. So I live in the Houston area, North Houston area. Yeah, as Joe mentioned, I'm a University of Iowa graduate. My first job brought me down here to Houston. Almost 16 years ago, and the opportunity has kept me here ever since. So I'm a proud Texan now.
There you go. What about you? So you're down in the Houston area. I was down south of Houston in Pearland for about 12 years.
Yep.
So
Yep.
Love the area down there. Love everything but the traffic.
The traffic and the humidity, right?
Yeah, the humidity. It's not that bad up here. It gets there sometimes, but so any of our listeners, viewers out there, as we're sharing today, we're talking referrals, like Joe said. Please put some comments in or ask questions in our comments, so that way we can at least ask Andy these things. But Andy, let's get into it. Kind of tell us from a referrals perspective, what is it that makes it easier to get those referrals, in your opinion, or have something to be able to come up with the referral questions?
In my experience, referrals aren't going to come from products that don't provide a real viable solution. I think that's number one. Regardless of what you're doing, regardless of the product that you're selling, the service that you're selling, regardless of who your target customers are, you have to legitimately solve a problem that is constant in their life, in their business, whatever. And so first and foremost, I think before you can get anywhere in terms of referrals and growing your customer base and all that, you have to make sure that you're legitimately solving a problem or problems. So I think that's number one. That's kind of like the elementary 101 kind of foundation that we should always set in sales and in business. If we want to grow our customers, grow our business, is first and foremost, what is the problem or problems that our products and services are providing a solution for?
Yeah, I was talking with one of my realtor partners, and I was talking to her about how she asked for referrals, and she's like, I don't. And I was like, well, how do you not ask for referrals and you do as much business as you do? And she goes, it's about the way that I'm helping other people. They just tell others about it. So I think you're right on with, it's not about the product, it's about the solution and what you take care of for them. So when it comes to the solution, what is some things that you find that excuse me, can't talk today, guys. I apologize to all the viewers already, and apologize to Joe, my co-host. Just can't get the words out today. But
Need some more coffee, cup of Joe.
I do. I've only had one, so that's a problem. But when it comes to the services, what is it different that gets you to get people to talk about you more with that service that you're providing versus the product?
It's making people feel like you're providing a different level of service, of attention to detail, of communication, of all this stuff. Of course, I have a lot of friends in real estate. My wife and I, we own, a real estate investment company. And so we work with agents, we work with title, we work with mortgage, all this stuff. And there's a small handful of people in those services that have taken it to a just new level. And, I don't have all the time to, explain what exactly that they do, but once you experience that, and I think we can all, think of different things, whether it's, someone we bought a car from, or someone we get a haircut from, or, whatever. When you experience that level of service, when you experience the product that they, provide for you, you just know, like, man, that just took it to a whole new level. That just reset the standard that now I expect for receiving this product, this service, whatever. It's communication, it's thorough communication, it's answering questions, it's going above and beyond, it's getting back to them in a timely manner, it's making sure that they're good with like timelining. You're not overly you're not pressuring them to make a decision before they want to make that decision. They're not going to refer that. They're not going to say, hey, yeah, go talk to my buddy who's going to really push you and make you make a decision before you're really comfortable. No one does that. You might help them get to a decision, a little bit quicker than maybe they would without any help. And there's a difference there. But it is, I think really it's taking your service, your product, your attention to detail, your communication, how people just feel when they work with you. They take it to a whole new level. And so they're going to say, man, if you're going to do this thing, you got to talk with that guy.
Right. And I think I'm so glad that we're wrapping up PAPCAR with referrals, because everything that we've been talking about, Joe, for the past 5 weeks, building the relationship, right? The trust, which I know, Andy, you're big on that, as far as having that trust there, differentiating yourself from others. I mean, that's really all of this stuff that we're talking about and that you're talking about, Andy, to be able to set yourself apart so that, Joe, like the realtor you had mentioned, it doesn't have to ask for them. It just, they come because you're doing all of these things, right?
I also have a car guy, used car salesman. Everybody thinks it's stigma. I've referred him, I think, probably 7 people. And it's not because they have the best price. It's not because they have a better vehicle. It was because they take time to talk with you, care about it. They kind of roll out that red carpet when you get there, and not literally. I mean, that would be nice. I'd walk down and I'd stroll it, but it's they come out and it's not a pushy sales. It was just a really warm, get to know you, take care of you, and that was different. And that's why I referred this this salesman so many times, because he would also call and just say thank you, and I thought that was huge too. So.
All those little things, definitely. I think, Andy, I know you're talking about as far as product and service, and that's being able to deliver a solution, right, is the key to it. But I correct me if I'm wrong, I think also the quality of it matters, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I think I know people want products that make them aspirational, that improves their daily life, improves, their job, whether if it's B2B, it looks as if they're doing their job really well. They're improving their job, they're improving their company. If it's B2C, it's helping them move forward in whatever it is that they're wanting to do in their life. They're working with you guys to get a mortgage, and like now they have a better house, a bigger house. They can grow their family. They can have, parties and whatever. They're seeing that aspirational effect. And part of that aspirational effect is quality. There very, very few people are going to refer a product that makes them feel less high quality, right? And so not only does your product need to have high quality, your product needs to kind of make them feel as if their quality of life, their quality of their job, their quality of their decisions are getting better, are improving, that they're making some progress. And so it's not always about having the absolute best product to the nth degree. There's always going to be some sort of diminishing return on that, but there is an aspect of quality that has to go into the type of product and the type of service that you provide. I always kind of think like there's like an XY axis, right? And on the Y axis you have price, and on the X axis you have the problem that you're solving. The harder the problem that you're solving, the higher the price that you can charge. Now, also, the harder the problem that you're solving demands higher quality of the product or the service that you're providing. And so, I always kind of think of that. If you're gonna try and compete simply on price, the problem that you're solving better not be very hard. And then the problem that you're solving isn't really going to be all that much life changing. But the further down on that x-axis that you get, the harder the problem that it is, the more people are going to end up referring you, the more that you're able to charge for that price, but also the higher the quality your product and service, and also the attention to detail, and the higher the quality of just the experience that people feel when they work with you.
No, that brings up a good point too. dealing with first-time home buyers and dealing with people that have bought, now they're buying their luxury homes. The quality of service from a real estate agent, matters. And buyers agents do a great job with those first-time home buyers. But if you're going to sell that first home that you bought, you're wanting a listing agent that knows how to market it and how to do certain things, and especially in the market we're in right now.
Yeah.
If you were selling your house 2 years ago, they were going like hotcakes. I mean,
Yep.
It didn't matter what kind of agent you had. So, Andy, you said that you guys have a real estate company too. Can you talk to some of the things that are that quality that you just talked about that you do or that your wife does on that side of the business, to really showcase why real estate agents are important? And just like Joe and I, from a mortgage standpoint, why the quality of what we do, it's not always about the price, because every agent could cut down and go with a 1% and sell a house, but they're not going to put anything into it in a market we were in 2 years ago. But paying that 3% or 6% total for buyer or seller side, why is the importance there right now in our market?
Yeah, actually, I've got a story. It's not about a real estate agent. I have plenty of stories there, good and bad. But the very first deal that my wife and I did, this is almost 8 years ago when we opened our company. We didn't know very much about title companies. And it just kind of was like one of those afterthoughts. All the books and podcasts and everything we read, no one ever talked about a title company. Anyway, we the deal that we were doing was a wholesale deal. So we weren't actually closing on the property. We were buying an interest in the contract and then selling it to another investor. We had just gotten into business. We had no money to close, completely on our property. Nonetheless, this is a completely legal thing to do in Texas and many states. And, I don't know about New York and New Jersey and whatever, but Florida, Texas, those types of states, you can wholesale a contract, basically buy an interest in the contract and then sell it on to another investor. So we get to the closing table, and this title company that we were working with that actually came from a referral, we're sitting at the closing table, and this title company doesn't know what to do when someone is selling an interest in a contract. They only do basically like single family homes where it's like a first time home buyer and they're closing on the property. They didn't do investment deals. So we're sitting at the title closing table, and my wife especially is on the phone with our real estate attorney, like walking the title company through what they have to do to get this deal closed. And first we thought, we're like, oh my God, are we doing something wrong? Are we breaking the law? No, ultimately we ended up working with the title company that was out of their niche. Their niche was not doing investor deals. And just like real estate agents, there's a lot of real estate agents that they focus on first-time home buyers, handle them with, lack of a better term, handle them with kid gloves and walk them through the process because they've never done that before. There's other real estate agents that, yeah, they do. They're better for the luxury market. They know how to get creative. They know how to negotiate, because these people have bought and sold dozens and dozens of properties. And so they're really great at negotiating. And so being able to know your niche, being able to know how you differentiate yourself. If you're going to be a first-time home buyer's agent, that's how you differentiate yourself. If you're going to be a luxury agent, that's how you differentiate yourself. If you're going to be a title company that knows how to work with investors and be creative on deals, that's how you're going to differentiate yourself. It certainly isn't just going to be on price and just cutting your commission and having the cheapest rates. It's going to be having all these different ways that you can exit, having all these different ways of experience that you can help walk people through the process and say, hey, listen, I've done this 100 times. This is a little unique right here, but I've seen this done before. Don't worry, I can help you.
That's awesome.
I like that. So, I mean, I know I'm asking a lot of questions. I'm going to let Joe keep going on his questions because I jump in too much.
Actually, I kind of wanted to talk a little bit with the Andy about a book that I know all three of us really love, which is creating raving fans, right? It's a great book. If anybody is in sales, you should read this. It really is. I want to kind of get your take a little bit, Andy, from you in your experience and a good decade of sales that you've been going at.
Real quick, Joe, real quick. We're going to promote it. Here you go, guys.
There you go. Raving
I have
fans.
the book.
There you go.
So,
yep. How do you create raving fans? How do you go about creating I know you call it more of a fanatic, if you will, raving fanatic, but
Yeah.
how do you go about creating a raving fan?
Yeah, and I think that's the ultimate. That's kind of where this path takes us, right? If we don't believe in our products, if our products don't deliver on a quality solution, if we're not solving our customers' problems, forget getting raving fanatics. You've got to lay that groundwork first. And so ultimately doing those things, you're on your way to creating raving fanatics. And it's not just customers that, stand around and just clap for you and say, great job. They are the customers that are giving you referrals. Those customers ultimately turn into your sales force. That's how you multiply yourself, whether you're a one or two man band like me and my wife with our real estate investment company, or my company, Anvil Smith Cooper, that I work for. I mean, there's thousands of us, all over the world, working on chemical plants and refineries and things like that. I still want to get raving fanatics at all of those chemical plants and refineries around the world, because I can't be around the world all at the same time. But all of my customers that I've sold to and I've tried to take care of and differentiate myself now say, whenever there's a problem, they say, oh, you got to work with Anvil Smith Cooper. You got to work with Andy Greever. He's going to take care of you. He's going to listen to you. He's going to validate your concerns. He's going to, basically give you a 360-degree understanding of what it is going to be the best solution for you. But if you don't deliver on a high quality solution, if you don't nurture your customers and listen to them and listen to their concerns and validate their concerns, you're not going to get raving fanatics. And really, like, one of the funny things, I think we were talking about this, yesterday. You just mentioned it earlier. There's a real estate agent or whoever you mentioned that doesn't ask for referrals,
Right?
Because you don't have to, because
Right.
you've done all of those things along the way. You've taken care of them. You've solved their problem. You've listened to them. You don't have to ask for the referral. You know that it's going to come, because they're going to like, hey, who else can I tell about you? Because everything that you're doing is dynamite. Everyone who has this problem, everyone who's had this experience needs to get access to your solution. And so raving fanatics is the way that you multiply yourself. Again, if you're a one-man band, you must have raving fanatics, but you're not going to get raving fanatics if you don't do the groundwork first.
Yeah, I think raving fans, raving fanatics, it's an awesome way that people value what you're doing for them. And it doesn't matter the cost at that point either. Like you said, the price, it goes up based on the quality. I think, like my friend that we were talking about, she gets the referrals because she doesn't ask for it. She tells me, she's like, I sell houses. I know how to do it. And, that's the one thing we were kind of talking to her about, maybe coming on a podcast with us one time. And she's like, what am I going to tell people? Just get out there and put your feet on the ground and do hard work. And so it kind of cracks me up, because it's more than just the hard work part. It's the follow-up stuff. It's the little things that you're touching points with those clients that make raving fanatics. It's little pieces, and it's not trying to make it overly complicated. Because one thing that we do in our industry, Joe, I don't know if you do the same thing, but a lot of our LOs do, is they try to overcomplicate what they're doing for that client, and you lose it. But if you put the foundation, what you just talked about, put the foundation into place, and then just add one extra thing to that. Once you get good at that foundation, that's when you start taking it to the next level. And then once you're really good at that one thing, then you can add another. And I don't know if you feel the same way, but that kind of what you were talking about with the chemical piece. If you went in there and tried to do everything at one time, you're going to blow people's minds up, and they're not going to think of you as much as they do once you solve the solution. So, that was a great way of you bringing in how you do both. But when it comes to the real estate investment, kind of talk about your real estate investment business. Are you guys buying more just investment properties and renting them out? Or are you just buying, flipping? Kind of tell me a little bit about that and how you create the buzz around referrals from from that business?
So we do both. So we have a rental portfolio of long-term properties. So people are, long-term leases, things like that. We have a couple properties that are short-term rentals or Airbnbs. We've got a lake house. We've got a house in North Houston, like a corporate rental kind of thing where people come in for a couple weeks, like traveling nurses, things like that. We also then fix and flip. And the reason that we do both is because it's different exit plans. We may not have we may close on a property that ultimately isn't going to work long term for us as a rental property, so that we'll flip it instead. And so how we get referrals, one, are the sellers that we work with. We make sure sometimes most of these properties, all of these properties are in an as-is condition. Basically, there's either some financial problems that they're running into and they need money from their property, or it's a property that they've owned for a long time and they have equity and they're like, you know what, I don't want to put a new roof in. I don't want to do, put new floors in. I don't want to spend that money. I want to sell it as is and move on. And there's a lot of times, a lot of agents, I don't want to say all, but many agents don't necessarily want to work with properties like that. We have found that a lot of agents like the properties that are nice and shiny and clean and good and, ready to be staged. And so we have worked with agents and said, hey, if you get a property that looks as is and you don't want to have to worry with it, refer it to us. And we'll work with you. You're still going to get paid. We're going to fix it and flip it and whatever. And then we might work with them on the other side and sell it at a higher price, and they get a better commission on that. And that's a big relationship thing. We only get those referrals from real estate agents that we know, that we've created relationships with. And going back to the sellers, we make sure that we take care of the sellers. We make sure that we're not transactional, that we are building a relationship. And a lot of times these sellers, it's a sensitive situation. And my wife is A++ dynamite with her compassion and with her sympathy and empathy that she demonstrates with these sellers. So these sellers know that they're being taken care of by her and by our company. And so when they do sell their house and they get a nice check and they get this burden off their shoulders, they're like, oh my gosh, man, Elizabeth Greever, she was just amazing. She took care of me. And if y'all ever in a situation like that, you'll have to talk with her. And so that's where we get our referrals from. It's both our sellers and real estate agents.
Gotcha. Still providing that solution.
Exactly.
I have to admit, we definitely, I know I've said it to you before, Andy, we would definitely love to have you and your wife on here sometime when we do a investment property series on the show. I think it'd be awesome to have you and Elizabeth on the show to kind of go through, how you guys started. Because a lot of people, have thought about getting into investment properties, but have no idea how to. So we'll definitely have to have both of you on sometime to do an episode on investment properties. I think it'd be awesome.
Awesome. I'd love it.
Cool.
So, Joe, if somebody wants to get a hold of Andy, how can they do that, sir?
Yeah, so LinkedIn and Instagram are the biggest social media things that I'm on, and I'm Andy Greever. I'm the only one. So find me on LinkedIn, find me on Instagram. Those are the two social media things that I'm at. And then our company is called Everson Cooper, eversoncooper.com.
Awesome. Fantastic. Well, Andy, thank you so much for coming on today. Really appreciate all the knowledge and that you poured out to our listeners. I'm sure they've got a lot out of it. I do want to talk as far as next week. Next week, we're going to, because now that we've wrapped up the series of PAPCAR, we're going to jump into next week. I think is a great topic for all of our listeners out there, especially those of you that are looking to maybe first-time home buyers, especially because we're going to dive into credit, right? A big deal. A lot of people are afraid to apply for a mortgage because they think their credit is bad. Maybe it's in the 600s, 500s even. We're going to have a credit expert on next week, Brian Quinn, to be able to help and go through a lot of this and educate our clients, our listening audience, I should say, on how to better your credit, a lot of different ins and outs on that. So be sure to tune in next week as we go through an episode on credit. I do want to thank everyone for tuning in today. And please, it is our goal. I'm going to do the plug. Yes, it is Joe and our goal on our YouTube channel to get to 1,000 subscribers. So please, if you're listening, go to our YouTube page, the Mojo Show Real Estate Podcast. Subscribe to it, please. We're trying to get to 1,000. That is our goal.
Yeah, Joe, we had a couple of comments. So Diane asked how, she said, sorry, she missed the series. Diane, that's a great spot to go. So that way you can see all 6 episodes of PAPCAR and learn more about it, because we did each one of them. They're all on our YouTube channel. So I wanted to make sure we did that. And then Eric, you can go there too. Thank you guys for making comments and listening today.
Absolutely. All right, Joe, to wrap it up, any other comments before I close this off?
I don't. I know I threw us off today. So, Andy, welcome to the Mojo Show, where Joe is the one that's precise and does everything great. And then I just come in for the comic relief. So we really appreciated you being on. And Joe, I always appreciate you, sir. I don't say it enough. Thank you for everything you do to get this going.
Oh, it takes both of us, definitely. Well, folks, I'm Joe Mortgage, and that handsome guy over there with the beard and hat on is my co-host, Cup of Joe Mortgage, and we'll see you next week.
Mr.